It's deadline day for General Motors and Chrysler, and in just a few hours from now, the automakers will be giving a progress report on their restructuring, plus filling us in on just how they plan to pay back billions of dollars in government loans. That's your money. And we just learned from our own Jim Engel that GM CEO Rick Wagoner is going to be speaking later this afternoon. Virg Bernero, the mayor of Lansing, Michigan, is joining us now via a webcam Skype. Mr. Mayor, thanks for being with us. We're not going to know the details for a few more hours, but we know this much. The broad plan. GM, for example, is going to be cutting back on its workforce, shuttering factories, reducing its lineup of brands to, I think, to 8 or 4 from 8. What's your reaction to the plan?
Well, first of all, I got to say, in all honesty, I was a little offended by your question. You know, have the unions given up enough? Has the working man given up enough? You know, my question is, has Wall Street given up enough for the billions that they have taken? I got to tell you, I am so sick and tired of the double standard. One standard for Washington and Wall Street and another standard for working people in this country. It always comes down to, in order to be more competitive, we got to take it out of the hide of the working person, cut their pay, cut their benefits. How much is enough? Let me ask you, have the bonuses been cut on Wall Street? What has Wall Street given up?
Yeah,
what has Washington given up? It's always the working person who takes it on the chin and who's thrown it under the bus.
But so now that you bring it up,
package, and we don't mind. The auto industry will step up and we'll take our lumps. But by gosh, let's have some reciprocity in this country.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that wasn't my question, and I'm sorry you're offended by it. But now that you bring it up, here's today's editorial in the New York Post. The overall per-worker burden at the Big Three is upwards of $70 per hour compared to $27 an hour earned by the average private sector worker in the upper Midwestern states. As a result, General Motors loses $2,000 per car sold. That is unsustainable. Wouldn't you agree that UAW workers need to swallow some pay cuts, substantial ones?
Greg, I don't know about you, but I have good health benefits here in the city of Lansing. My guess is that Fox provides you with some good health benefits. So now General Motors and the Big Three are to be penalized for doing a social good and stepping up to the plate and providing health benefits and some pension for their workers. Give me a break. You know, Wall Street got billions of dollars, no strings attached. They haven't suffered one iota, and all we can talk about is how much more blood we can squeeze out of the turnip, how much more we can get out of the working person. I'm telling you, Americans are sick and tired of it across this country. The double standard between working people. I know Wall Street doesn't understand working people and industries that actually produce something. But let me tell you, let me just jump ahead,
Mayor,
because this thing's going to have to be paid back.
There must be a disconnect on our Skype
this stimulus package has to be paid back.
Because I asked you about pay cuts and you're talking about health care.
GDP is gross domestic product. That means you have to produce something. What are we going to produce in this country if we allow the auto industry to go by the wayside like every other industry that we've shipped overseas?
Can I get a question in here? I asked you about a pay cut for workers, not health care, but now that you've brought up health care, let me put it this way. $47 billion in future costs to UAW workers for health care for life. You're wrong. I don't get health care for life here. And isn't that part of the problem? They need to give up that which no other worker gets, health care for life.
The UAW has already made concessions, and I'm sure they'll make more concessions. But if you think you're going to make me feel guilty about the fact that I had health benefits as a kid and I was able to have straight teeth because my dad retired from GM, and if you think my 84-year-old father and other retirees like him, hundreds of thousands across this country, if you think they should feel guilty for the benefits they received, I disagree with you. General Motors and the Big Three provided a wonderful standard of living. They helped create the middle class in this country, which is now under attack because of the outsourcing that has taken place, and Wall Street and Washington just don't get it. This unholy alliance is not working for the average American, and since 2001, since China joined the WTO, we've lost something like 2.3 million jobs directly to China because of the unfair trade. Our Americans are competing on an unfair playing field, and no wonder they can't win. And what you're setting up and what you're contributing to is a race to the bottom, so that we think that every American is the standard now, that we should be paid Americans like a third world peasant. It is a race to the bottom. I'm sorry, it's wrong. We're setting up a race that the Americans cannot win. They shouldn't have to compete on that basis. We need fair trade, not free trade. We are suffering from the free trade policies that both Democrats and Republicans have perpetrated upon us.
It's not a campaign speech. You're not the ever-ready battery. Calm down. We're just having a discussion here. Mayor Bernero of Lansing, Michigan, thank you very much.